Welcome to the revamped Gig Sessions. Welcome to our Music Purveyors segment. This is a place where the industry talks, and with that, let me introduce you to my guest for whom we'll be talking today. Jimmy Carpenter is a saxophonist, singer-songwriter, and arranger who began his musical journey over 35 years ago. He's played with Eric Lindell, Walter Wolfman Washington, Tinsley Ellis, and many others. You will find him today touring as the leader of his own band or on the road as part of Mike Zito's band, The Wheel. Welcome, Jimmy.
Nice to be here. Good to see you, Tina.
Yeah, thank you. My next guest is Benjamin Betty Latimore. He's one of America's greatest Southern R&B soul singer, songwriters, and pianist. His biggest success came in 1974 with Let's Straighten It Out, which charted #1 on the R&B charts and also number 31 on the US Billboard Hot 100 charts. In 2017, his achievements were recognized with an induction into the Blues Hall of Fame. Congratulations on that induction, Latimore, and welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. Good to be here.
My next guest is Mark Thompson. He lives in Florida, where he is enjoying the sun and retirement. He is the past president of the board of directors for the Suncoast Blues Society and a former member of the board of directors for the Blues Foundation. Music has been a huge part of his life for the past 50 years, and today you will find him reviewing, critiquing, and interviewing many great talents, and most of his work publishes in Blues Blast magazine. Welcome, Mark.
Thanks, Tina. Good to be here.
So I want to sort of, start out with a question to each of you. So it's a general question that I'd like each of you to answer. And Jimmy, if you don't mind, we'll start with you and then Latimore and then Mark.
All right.
We all get more out of the live music experience, and we are what one would call live music fans. How have you transitioned with live streaming as an artist and promoter? And Mark, what are your thoughts about live streaming as a patron of music?
Well, admittedly, I have not exactly transitioned particularly well into this. Was able to film a couple of full sets early on. I found a great place here in Vegas called SIR Studios, and we set up the band and recorded 2 complete shows. And it was great because we hadn't played live in many weeks, and so that was a lot of fun. Then I lost that venue, and it's been a challenge. I must admit, I've greatly enjoyed watching my colleagues and friends navigate this thing. Some have done really well with it, some of them not so great, and I don't know. I wish I could say that I had grabbed this thing by the horns and just taken off with it, but it's been a struggle. And also, I think that everything is really, in the beginning, it was not much of this going on, and then it was really saturated. And it's hard to stand out and to get an audience, start out with 500 or 600 people watching. Then I think if you get 100 to 150, you're doing really well. So it's been something of a challenge. I'll just leave it there.
Latimore?
Well, I can say that I have not transitioned well at all in this new age thing, but I'm trying. I'm still trying. I grabbed it by the horns, but I couldn't blow that horn. So it just didn't make it. The horns gored me. So I'm still I'm talking with a few people, to see about doing something, streaming something. But it's been a little bit of quite a challenge for me with this way that we have to, this new normal that we have here. But I'm not giving up. I'm going to get into it. I'm somewhat technologically challenged at this age, but it's not going to make me give up. I'm going to keep on.
I think we're all technically challenged. It's part of our age group. So yeah, it's taking a leap of faith into the unknown. Mark, you're the patron side
I'm
of
the patron.
this. So how are you viewing what's happening and what's your thoughts on it?
I'd have to say over whatever the 6-7 months I've been running hot and cold. Initially, it was great to still be able to see a lot of musicians whose work I truly enjoy online. So I wasn't totally missing out on the music. But then you want to support them. So you start donating to everybody. And then I started looking at my credit card statements and said, okay, we need to slow this roll a little bit. And, and then it kind of runs hot and cold. I mean, sometimes I'm really glad that people are out there doing it so I can get my fix. And then other times I just go, I'm tired. I'd rather see it live. I'm tired of watching it on my screen. And in Florida, I've had a few opportunities to get out, but we've kind of hunkered down again because it looks like the situation is starting to change again. So I'm glad people are doing it, but like Jimmy said, I've really seen on the things I've been on lately where people were drawing 200-300, now they're lucky if they're getting 70 or 80.
And Jimmy, I kind of want to come back to the promoter side. You guys, you're also the talent buyer for Big Blues Vendor, and you guys went live with your event this year. Did you feel that was successful to not have, was it successful and was the effort worth it?
It was actually very successful in that we raised a whole bunch of money for the Blues Foundation's COVID emergency fund. Like a lot of money. I think it was 30 grand, I think. So that was outstanding. It was, and it was cool. And for me, because I'm the musical director, and at that time of the year, we ran it while the festival would have been happening. So in August, late July and August, normally I'm in a blind panic trying to get stuff ready. Usually I play 20, 25 sets over the course of that week, and it's really intense. And this, I put the videos together and did a bunch of sound revamping and remixing and stuff. So I was under the gun to get this done. And in that way, it kind of reminded me of a normal year. I was like, not quite as panicked as I would have been, but sort of. And so that was fun. And also I got to look back at a whole bunch of footage and remember things that it's all kind of a blur. But it was cool to find some real gems. And what was really, besides the money that we raised for the Blues Foundation, the reaction that we got from our customers and people that were watching it was really, really priceless. It was great. It was definitely worth the effort. I'd rather not do it again, but I will if I have to, but I'd really rather not.
Fingers crossed we never ever have to have discussions about virtual streaming for festivals that cannot happen.
Yeah, that would be really nice. I'd much rather be working on the real thing, sweating bullets in person.
Yeah.
And that kind of leads me to the first question I had for you, Jimmy. Right now, and at least according to my calendar, we would have been discussing next year about this time. So how has your role changed since all the artists who were booked for 2020 have been moved to 2021?
Well, it's definitely changed, and that's kind of the story to be written here. As we, we had to, we're all just kind of on hold because we don't want to reinvent the wheel if we don't have to, and we had done a vast amount of the work already. We were actually way ahead this year with the schedule was 95% done. We always tweak it, but it was mostly done. And everybody's booked again, and we just tried to move it exactly over. So as we get nearer next year, there are going to be, there's bound to be issues with schedules and stuff that we have to adjust. But that's a very good question, and one that I would like to know the answer to, because when we all get back to work again, hopefully shortly after the first of the year is kind of what we're hoping. We're going to be ahead of the game again, and that means that AJ Gross and I will start our little almost seemingly endless switching and moving and tweaking. And we always say, every time we get together, normally we improve it, and we stop doing it when we figure that we haven't improved it again. So I'm sure we'll pick up and do that again. I hope it's in February.
I'm hoping March. That's kind of the time frame I've set. So Latimore.
Yes.
You have seen many trends in music come and go. For many years of being in this business, you have worked with tracking when recording. Since the music stopped in March, many have had to resort back to this style of recording. For those who aren't familiar with this style of recording, it can seem very disconnected. Is there any advice that you can give these guys that can help them feel more connected to the whole of the project?
Well, I don't have that much advice to give them, because you get sort of backed up in a corner, and you have to do it like that to record that way. I never was much of a fan of that kind of thing, but I've done a little bit of it, the tracking stuff, but somehow it just doesn't feel right to me. It doesn't feel right to me at all. But you have to do what you have to do. If whatever vehicle you have to drive to get from point A to point B, you have to adapt and do that, and I can say that I've not adapted well, but I still have the ability to do it. And I would like to tell anybody that aspires to this type of recording and performing, to go ahead and do what you have to do. Just do what you have to do. You have to do it. It's nothing like what I have done over the years, but that's been many years. So I know that that life does not have a pause button, and it does not stand still. It's moving. It's a constant moving thing, and you have to try to keep up with it. And I'm a little bit behind it, but I'm still holding on. I got my hand out there. I got both hands out there, trying to hold on to it. You have to do what you have to do till you can do what you want to do. So that's kind of my idea on things. That's actually my way of life. All told, that I do what I have to do till I can do what I want to do.
That's great.
That might be a song.
I was getting ready to say, you better write a song. Latimore, yeah. And you could title it Latimore's Philosophy.
Yeah.
So, Mark, in a recent conversation we had, you said the words to deal with getting back to live music. And I should preference that by saying you might have actually said life and not music. We have to deal with the virus. Explain in more detail what you meant by that.
Well, all right. Back in March, there was a weekend where all of a sudden it's like the virus got very serious, and they announced that they were closing the bars and restaurants in Illinois, and then it was California, and then I think Ohio. And, when I heard that, I thought this is going to get really bad in a hurry, and I don't think people understand how far the ramifications of all this are going to go. Well, now we're living it. And, until there is a vaccine that we can safely take, I guess where I'm at now is everybody has to make their own personal decision on how they want to live. For some of us, I have some health issues, and I've made the choice that I'm going to continue to hunker down. And if some opportunities present themselves where I think I can go listen to live music in a relatively safe environment, I'm probably going to do it. Otherwise, if I have to go into some enclosed space and be around people, even if we're social distancing, I'm not going to risk it. Life means more to me. But some people may decide they don't want to do masks. They're willing to take their chances, and they want to go out, and they should be able to do that. So we all have to make a decision on how we want to deal with the virus, and then we have to respect each other's decisions. So I can respect that you want to go out there and listen to music and live life like it's normal, and have at it. But when you're in situations like groceries, well, let's not get into that. You just have to make those decisions, at least regarding live music. You and Jimmy know me well enough to know that how much music I've listened to over the years, and how I've tried to support the music in my own ways. And there's a part of me that's dying because I can't be out there, but it's my choice not to be out there, for my own self-protection at this point. So I don't know that there is a right or wrong answer. Everybody's got to make their own choice. My heart breaks for the musicians. So many of them are friends of mine, and I know they're really hurting, but I don't want them to be out there risking their lives either. So
that is the two-way street. I'm going to ask one more question on this subject, and then I want to get to something more fun. And the last question on this subject is going to be for you, Jimmy. You're a touring artist, both as a leader and a side guy, and you're also talent buyer / musical director for the Big Blues Vendor. And people keep throwing these words around. We're all in this together. What do those words mean to you?
Well, I mean, when some people say them, it means what I think it should mean, which is that, as far as the pandemic goes, we really can't, unless we all get a handle on this, it's never going to really go away, I don't think. And if, I live in Nevada, we have a lot of freedom kind of people, and, there's a weekly protest against mask wearing here in Vegas every week, and a lot of things like that. And that's, I mean, to me, that's completely counterintuitive. It makes little to no sense whatsoever. But um, the fact is, we are all in this together, regardless of what you think politically or otherwise. It's just a fact, and I think people declaring that their rights are being, their rights are being infringed upon, but them exercising their rights may infringe on the rights of other people, which that doesn't really work either. It's kind of like sort of like smoking to me. Everybody says I should have the right to smoke in a bar. I'm like, yeah, but I should have a right to be in a bar and not breathe your smoke. So I don't know how you work that out, but I really think that this is not going to go away just by everybody saying it's no big deal, because it clearly is a big deal. And it's completely devastating my industry that it's really like 40 years I've been doing this. I've seen a lot of recessions and a lot of this and a lot of hurricanes and all kinds of things like that have messed things up, but nothing on this like this. I mean, nothing on the scope of this. So I really hope that as a country we can say, look, if we just deal with this together, it won't go away, but we can handle it. And until we do that, it's not going to happen. So,
you guys have any comments to that?
Agree with what he said there. It's when it comes to saying your rights, your rights as opposed to your life, you have a right to go out and stand in front of a semi. You got a right to do that, but don't push me out there. Don't push me out there. I agree that we have to be together on this whole thing. We're in it together. We might not acknowledge that, some of us, but we are in it, and it's going to take everybody doing their part to try to overcome this thing. And it's not going to go away by itself. It didn't come here by itself. It's here. So, hey, we have to try to deal with it as best we can, especially if you're younger. I know a lot of young people that want to go out and party and have a good time, and they don't think ahead. They think right now, which is mostly what's real is right now. But you gotta have some sort of a preparation, have something in your head for what might happen. If you do the right thing today, tomorrow might be better. So I'm not gonna make some of the mistakes other people make. At the age that I am now, I'm not taking chances. I'm not taking a whole lot of chances. I take a chance on walking to my mailbox. At this age, come on. And I've seen a lot of things come and go. Never saw anything like this, and I hope that it goes.
Yeah, you survived disco.
I'm almost discoed to death.
That's classic. So, Mark, you have interviewed some amazing people through time. Who is the most memorable in this moment and why?
Oh, that's not fair, Tina.
Like this moment right now.
Well, that's what I said, because, it's off the top of your head, and I'm not giving you much time to think about it.
Well, I'll give you a few. I mean, last year I finally got to do another interview with Kim Wilson, which is always a treat because Kim has plenty to say. and I got to do an interview with one of my longtime favorites, Chris Kane. I was excited to interview Kid Anderson, and the scope of the interview was not on Greaseland Studios, and he's done such exceptional work out of that studio. So that was, and then, well, there's one I just did last week with Magic Dick from the old Jay Giles band, and you know, we started talking and stopped 2.5 hours later. And it was a unique experience. He started out asking me about me. Like, he wanted to know some stuff about me. And so that was totally different from the beginning of any interview I had ever done. So, you know, and then I also have done some people like Chick Willis when he was still alive, and gentleman Jimmy will know about him, Ironing Board Sam.
Ironing Board Sam.
You know, used to be down on Bourbon Street and had a really great story to tell, and I was glad that I got to hear it and get it out there. So. Well, another one, Willie J. Campbell, the great bass player, is now with the Proven Ones. That was another one where we hit it off, and we were on the phone 2.5, 3 hours because we just enjoyed talking to each other. So, but I enjoy hearing people's stories, and then hopefully I can do a good job of relating that story in words so that other people can get to know them better.
Yeah.
You do a good job of it.
Yeah, I was going to say, you have. So, Latimore?
Yes.
Your song, Let's Straighten It Out, redefined the blues, as many writers have stated, in a startling, original way. Writers further explain that the entire recording captured all of the feelings of blues while introducing the set pieces of the contemporary Southern soul, which at that time was the spoken voiceover. To me, Southern soul and blues are two different genres, and for a lack of better words, breaks down to the black and the white. Explain, if you can, how you merged from Southern soul into the blues world, and do you feel ultimately you brought the white blues fan to the black side of Southern soul?
I think it all. It's not that I did anything to put myself into a certain category. It's just that I was categorized. You know, people try to judge what I do, and see, I was influenced by the blues. I couldn't say that I was a blues player and singer in the traditional sense, but blues. I have blues overtones and blues undertones, and the blues was the base of everything that I did. And I wasn't doing anything to say that, oh, well, I'm going to play the blues. I can't say that I'm a blues singer or a blues player, but I'm a singer who can play the blues, or can sing the blues, and a player who can play the blues. And because that was the most influence on me as an artist. I just do what I do, and hopefully it falls on, hopefully it doesn't fall on deaf ears. I do what sounds good to me. Now, I was raised up listening to country music because I was raised up in a little small town in Tennessee, about as big as my dining room here. and we used to hear country music all the time until this radio station WLAC in Nashville used to play the blues. And I was raised up in the church, see, so I only got to hear the blues late at night with a little small transistor radio under my pillow, because if my mother heard it, she'd come in there, and warm up my pants a little. And but I used to listen to it, and I was amazed at that there's that kinship. There's really not a whole lot of difference in that. Country music, gospel music, and all of it is in the same family to me. And I was influenced by all of it. So whatever I had in me or whatever came through me was filtered through that. So it comes out one way, it comes out one way and it comes out another way. And I was influenced by jazz. When I went to college, I was influenced by jazz. And that was a part of it. That was a part of my thing. But and now the Southern Soul thing, what people call the Southern Soul, R&B, as I thought about it, R&B was a lot different than what they say R&B is now.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, it was all R&B, as long as when I'm singing it, when I'm doing it, I'm not sitting up there thinking that I'm singing an R&B song and I'm singing a country song, I'm singing the blues. Country and blues got together, and then rock and roll came about. It's country tells a story, and that's what I like to do when I write. Songs that I write has to be about real life, not like good fairy tales that you love me, I love you. No, none of that fairy tale stuff. It's about things that people deal with in their everyday life, life itself. And everybody that lives with, is married to, or has a relationship with somebody is going to have to, at some point, go through something that is not every day. It's something that happens to you emotionally. Now, the blues can express the whole range of emotions, from love, hate, joy, happiness, sadness, madness, everything. It has a way it can express that, and so that people have to call it whatever that feels like. It feels good to them, they call it blues. You call it blues. You call blues. Everybody plays the blues. Everybody. Every genre of music except maybe Mozart. It's blues. It's blues. Jazzy blues. You got jazzy blues. You got country blues. You got blues has only one color. Blues. Blue. It's blue. So whether you black or white or polka dot, it's the blues. You got guys that play the blues. I'm gonna play the blues. You have to. You can't just learn 3 chords and say that hey, you can play the blues. You learn 3 or 4 licks. Albert King didn't have like 3 or 4 licks that he played, but he knew when to play it, how to play it, and it came from him inside. He felt it. It's something that you feel, and you don't have to be black to feel it. You don't have to be white to feel it. So you do what comes through you, I think comes from a higher calling. You know, this thing that we do, we're blessed. We don't. I think that, and I'm not trying to get religious here, but it comes from upstairs. You know, it's not. It's not. We are special people. We're artists. We are special people. That don't mean we're better than anybody else, or it, we have been chosen to give this music to the people. That's why we have to do it, whether we get paid or not. It's better to get paid, but but we have to do this. It comes through us. We have to be good stewards of this. I guess you could say our talent that we have, and do it to the best of our ability, and give it to whom it was chosen. It was chosen to give it to. It was given to us. It was it was given. It was given to the people through us. So I guess it's up to us to categorize it. I guess you have to. If you take three chords makes blues, uh, you got all kinds of other little things that can that can color it up. A lot of icing on the cake. That might be the cake, but then you put your little bit of icing on it, and it gives it personalizes it a little bit. And whoever's appreciating it, hey, it's great. It's great for whoever. If you like this and you think that, well, I like the blues, so and so and so and so. So I don't like to hear young people talk about, oh, I don't like the blues. I don't like the blues. Well, you don't like the blues. You know, think about what you're doing. If you're not doing classical, don't tell me about you not liking the blues, because underneath there's sort of a blues undertone or overtone in anything that you do musically. You don't care if it's pop or not, pop or whatever. It's about relationships and dealing with everyday life. And I'm going a little long.
No, and I love that. I want to come back to something you said. Well, two things actually. When you said that you didn't set out to be a Southern soul singer, you just did what was in you, and then your public defined you. And I
Yes.
say that a lot to artists. Like, don't just focus on this one thing. You're starting your career. You think you might be this, but if you just throw it out there, your public will define you. I
Yeah.
used to work with a rock band, and by the time all our reviews had come in, they compared them to the Grateful Dead. I would have never come up with that. Did it work for them? Certainly. It was a lot easier to be like, he sings and writes like Jerry than it was to be like American rock and roll. Um, but the other thing you said, um, I really appreciate what you said and how you said about artists being special, and that it was something given to you to pass on, because I never picked this path, Latimore. It was picked for me. And there are many days that we in my upper higher power have lots of arguments about why this was chosen for me. So I
Especially now.
totally related to what you said.
Well, thank you.
Um, and I kind of feel like maybe this is why we are all still here waiting, because we have done something right to give to the masses, for something to allow us to still be here, or at least that's what I'm banking on.
Well, let me jump in here because I have a question for you, Tina.
Uh-oh.
So, what's your take on the state of the industry these days as a booking agent?
I think, as much as I want to believe that coming into work every day is going to deliver something to look forward to in the future, it's not. Unfortunately, I think that we're all in a space that until everybody's given guidelines to know what they can and cannot do, um, nobody's really wanting to do anything. And clearly, the places that are, they're nestling into their local environment. Um, if I listen to the chatter and start like my own Excel spreadsheet, the industry is definitely saying that it's not going to come back until this time next year. I feel in my heart they're probably very right about that, but that's really from this idea of getting back to what we once knew. I think that once we can find out if there's going to be a second wind, how that's going to affect things, then I kind of feel like where we started earlier, I feel like it's going to be March or April before people can start to move in a regional direction. I also think, me personally, I'm super excited about the future. I think that because so many have been here so long, they will choose to retire. And we're going to see a whole new base of people come in. And I think there's going to be a percentage, and I could be included, that doesn't survive. And so it's going to leave it wide open for exactly what Latimore was talking about. If you're not being your authentic self and you're not doing what's clearly coming from here inside your soul, you're going to get way left behind in the future.
Which really, I mean, that's the way it should be.
Yes.
If you know, in my mind, people that are doing what is really in their heart and are authentic about it are the ones that are worth listening to.
So then I'm going to come back to Latimore on that very thing, Jimmy. This is horrible what's happening, but there is a side of me that I say to people, and I'll say it right here. I really feel that a portion of this is slightly biblical. And anyone who wants to say anything to me about that, I'll talk to them. But I think that's why, Jimmy, when music first started, you had to be really good at your craft to make a living at it. And somewhere in the mix of all these TV shows in the last 2 decades, it's become something that anybody can do. And I'm not here to diss someone who can live on little. Bless them. But at what point in time do you realize that it's not doing for you what it should, and kind of move out so that the professionals can keep going? And I feel like this is a reset button for that.
Yeah, I think it's a reset button for a lot of things. I mean, it's like I said, I've never seen anything devastate, and not just our industry, but virtually everything, all at once, everywhere in the world. You know, when this is finally over, where exactly are we going to play? How many of the venues are going to survive this? How many festivals will survive? How many, you know, it's really baffling to me. And that's part of the thing. It really freaked me out for a while. And I finally got where I wasn't just laying in bed worrying about it all the time. But it's like, we don't know anything about how this is going to play out. We really don't. We can act like we do, and we can hope, and we can try, and we can push it this way or that way. And, you know, but ultimately it's going to be a different world. I hope that I'm able, you know, I'm not a kid. And I had just begun to get my solo career happening, and this was going to be the year. And now hopefully it's going to be next year. And then, I mean, you know, it's, which is, you know, I'm not whining. It is what it is. I mean, this is what's happened. This is what we deal with. And you got to do, as an artist, you just have to do what you do and do it the best that you can do it. And if there's an audience for it, then that's great. If there's not, you probably, like you said, you probably shouldn't be here in the first place. So I don't know. I really worry. I'm so lucky to be in the situation that I'm in, where I'm not going to starve. I'm not going to be on the street. Everything's going to, I'm going to survive this. I really, I think of myself 25 years ago, and I know I wouldn't, I really worry about the musicians that we're all hand to mouth in the best of times. How do we get through all this? I don't know. Streams and lessons and, whatever. You got to do what you have to do until you can do what you want. Like you said.
Hey, we got to write a song about that.
Yeah, you do.
And I think that's what's interesting is that you released an album last month, right,
Me?
Jimmy? Yeah, Soul
No.
Doctor was
A year ago.
No,
a year ago.
Yeah, it came out in
Okay.
September of 19.
Okay, I thought it was this year. I'm
And
sorry.
it
about
wasn't
that.
just the CD, Tina. It was a really good CD.
I'm proud of it. It's a good record. It's certainly the best one I've done. And
Yep.
I had just come back from England. I did a killer tour in England and with a stop in Switzerland right at the end of February, and came through the Amsterdam airport, and all of a sudden everybody's wearing masks and everybody's freaking out, and got home just in time. Really, and was supposed to go back. I had another tour for January that's just now they're finally saying, yeah, we can't do it. So who knows?
Yeah, and Tina, your comment about a reset really resonates with me. Particularly in the last 5 years or so, because of Pro Tools and all these other things, and then places like disc makers where you can put your own music out there now, where before you had to have a record label. And so now everybody's doing it. And one of the reasons that I don't review as many CDs as I used to is because I'd get packages of discs to review. And a lot of them were discs I didn't want to listen to once, let alone a couple times, so that I can review it. And it just got, I finally said, I want to listen, the stuff that moves me, the stuff that Jimmy makes, that Latimore makes. And, particularly at, my age, most of my life's in the rearview mirror. So, I want to spend my time listening to the good stuff. And also, from listening to all this other stuff, I didn't have time to listen to the greats like I used to. So I felt like my knowledge base was slipping away. But there's just been a lot of music out there, and quite frankly, some people shouldn't have made the disc, or they should have actually hired somebody that could sing, or, they should have decided to be somebody other than the 33,232nd clone of Stevie Ray Vaughan or Jimi Hendrix or whoever, and done their own thing. And I heartily agree with what Latimore said about songs telling a story. I'm so tired of songs about going to Memphis or New Orleans or, or the blues, whatever. There's so many great songs out there. And, but don't cover everybody. It's like, don't cover all the songs that everybody else covers. Find your own, dig a little deeper, find a song that speaks to you and do that one really well, or write your own song, but tell a story. That's becoming a lost art in a lot of cases. Like Latimore mentioned country. Listen to Merle Haggard and some of the songs he did, like Swinging Doors and
that's a great
Night the Bottle Let Me Down. I mean, those are short stories and a few choruses, and they really hit home with you. And I don't know that we get a lot of that anymore, and that may be why, for a lot of people, music has become more kind of a disposable thing, because as an industry, we're not touching their souls like we used to.
That's a great statement.
That's the whole goal. I mean, I was just talking, Carrie's son Charlie's an artist, a really talented one, and we were just talking about commerce, art meets commerce, and to me, the entire goal of this is to touch people and create an emotion, evoke some sort of reaction, whether you're a visual, a painter, or whatever art you do. That's the whole point. And if you're not doing that, I mean, to me, blues songs about the blues just seems kind of like, well, I don't know, why? We all. It's like a lot of Zydeco songs are about Zydeco. I've noticed that. Which is not. I mean, I don't mean to disparage it or anything, but it's like that's not what I want to do. I think songwriting is a real lifelong challenge to me. It's something that I aspire to do. Sometimes I'm really good at it. Sometimes I suck at it. I can't really force it. It just kind of works or it doesn't work. But I am always in fear of writing a song that just doesn't. That's just nah. I hate that. So I want to write the perfect song, which is also an enemy of the craft because it's not possible. But a song like "Swinging Doors," I mean, that is just an amazing song. Or what's the one about the over there is the chair where she that's a George Jones song. It's just brilliant. I mean, they're just beautiful, emotional, powerful songs.
This notebook right here stays by my desk because I always write lyrics in it. I'm a lyric person. I will sit down and I will write them. And because I think I'm memorializing history, I'll put the artist and the year and the album so that when someone finds it, they can actually go find the music. But that is the art that has been lost. I don't quote as much as I used to. Anders Osborne is the only one. I printed all his songs, and they're just in the notebook.
And he's a powerful writer. I mean,
yeah.
Well, I got a question for Latimore.
Okay.
So how did you deal with the pressure of writing the follow-up to Let's Straighten It Out?
Well, actually, I didn't write a follow-up to. I mean, I wrote another song. It wasn't that I was trying to write a follow-up to that song. I just wrote another song, and I just kept on writing songs. I've written quite a few songs, but none of them ever reached the perception, the reception that Straighten It Out had. I mean, I just keep doing it and doing what I do and hope that I don't want to sit down and try to write. What you can't do is you can't sit down and write a hit. You got to write a song, and hopefully it's good. It's good, and see people accept it, and then if it sells, it becomes a hit. If not, it's just there. I got a whole bunch of songs that never got out of the city limit, and that I think was good. We had no idea that Let's Straighten It Out would do what it did. This was something that came along at the right time, in the right place, and had the right feel, and was dealing with relationship issues that everybody has. And I was just glad to be there, to be a part of it, and I wrote it and did most of the parts, and we had no idea that it was going to do what it did. Not at all. Not at all. It was the last song on the B side of the album.
Yep.
We needed something to fill it up with. It's amazing.
Let's Straighten It Out was filler, huh?
Yeah, it was filler.
Funny.
It was filler, and it was and the rest is history, I guess you'd say. But I tell you, songs songs have to have a meaning for me. And I don't sit down and say, well, I hope I can make a hit out of this. I I think about songs that some country songs that just brilliant, about how you feel and whatever circumstances is going on in your life at the time. But there's this song that this guy, I don't remember who wrote it, but he said, too dumb for New York, too ugly for LA. I thought about that because I'm from a country town, little country town. that had an effect on me.
Yeah.
Too dumb for New York, too ugly for LA.
There you go.
You caught in the middle of everything. But that song means a lot, It means something. It means that you're caught in something that you can't excel. You can't feel that you can excel in the big time. You're not ready for prime time. Yet you can't go and capitalize on some natural thing that you have. It depends on the perception you have of yourself. And it was funny. It was a funny song, but it was a great song.
Yeah.
And
I've had it. Go ahead.
Oh, there was another song that I used to like. It was just different from everything. Comedy kind of a song. Oh yeah. Thank God and Greyhound, she's gone.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Thank God and Greyhound.
Yeah. Can relate to that one.
Man, I've lost the video on you here. I accidentally touched something, I guess. But
well, we can still see you and hear you.
You still see me? Oh,
yeah.
Oh, here's my camera. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm a little bit challenged here, as you know.
Yeah. Well, Jimmy, songwriting for you. Do you start with music, lyrics? Do you wait for divine intervention?
I'm afraid. And where is he? I don't know. Both. I mean, sometimes one, sometimes the other. A lot of times I get a line. I'll get a line in my head, and I'll just kind of. I've got probably, I don't know, 100, 200 little notes in this thing that I'll just jot down, and but also I think I'm finding as I go along that it's better if I can get a groove and a like a melodic hook. And then I can match lyrics to it. It works better that way. This last record, I struggled and worried about material for it. I had a few things and I wrote 3 of the last 3 songs in like 3 days. Right, as the last one was, I wrote it the morning before we went in and recorded it. And I was terrified. I'm like, God, I have another song. I need another song. What's it going to be? And it worked. And I'm not advocating that as a technique because it's terrifying and probably not very reliable, but it worked. The other thing I find is that once I start making a record, I forget all about songwriting, and it takes me a long time to get back to it again because I just get the songs and the record in my head, and it's hard for me to write while that's all going on. I'm hoping, I aspire to be better at this. I listen to songs. I think one of the shortcomings of the blues in general is the dearth of good songs. So I'm always looking for, when I hear a record, I want, let's hear a song. Let's, you can play 1-4-5 blues shuffles all day and put a half-ass melody on it, and that's great. But that, to me, is not really what I want to do. I want to. That's one of the reasons I'm so drawn to soul music and the R&B kind of side of things is because The melodies are more important, and there's more freedom in the changes that you can work with. That's the kind of stuff that I really love. I mean, I love the straight up blues, because I think, like Latimore said, that is what all of it is from. If the music's got any kind of soul, you can tell when it's pretty obvious. But I think there's plenty of people playing shuffles out there. Well, I mean, not disparage shuffles, but 1-4-5. Lots of people doing that. So I don't want to do that. I don't want to do.
Well, yeah, and you like R&B because there's more horns.
That's true.
Well, we joked before you were present, Jimmy, that the reason why you probably are so employed is because you chose the horn instead of guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Although, there have been many times in my life where I wished I was a guitar player and leading a guitar trio, instead of being the fourth person in the band or the fifth person in the band. Because that's the one, you're out. First thing, time things get hard, you're gone. I guess the percussionist goes first, and then the horn player, right?
So my last question was going to be another one to all three of you, and the question was going to be, how do you see the new future in regards to music? But Jimmy's already touched on the fact that none of us know this. So as we wrap this up, let's just do it this is your reset button. How do you want the future of this to look like?
Who's going to go first?
Jimmy.
Okay. I was hoping somebody else would, but well, it is a reset. It is time to examine, as I've made a living at this since I was 20 years old, and for better or worse, sometimes it's been good, sometimes it's been terrible. It's like, I think most musicians it's just up and down. That's the scary thing about it, a great year followed by an A year, and then you're back where you started. I would really, for me, I want to hone the skills that allow me to create the music that I want to create. I want to get better at this technology. I don't really enjoy it. I mean, I've been doing sax tracks for people. I just did a killer version of Backdoor Santa for a Gulf Coast Christmas record. I'm really excited about it. It turned out really well. So, I'm getting there. So when this thing, when this is back to whatever normal is, I want to hit the ground running. I don't want to ease back into things. I want to be ready to go when it's possible to go. And I mean, that's really life in general. I'm 61 years old now. I need to get this thing. This show's got to get on the road quick. So I don't know that answers. I mean, I think that the business will survive. The gigs will come back. They may not look quite the same. Hopefully the money comes back to some degree, because it wasn't that good to begin with. I can't take much of a hit there, but I think for me personally, what this all means is that everything has to count. This has to count. It has to matter, and it's important. And it's like Latimore said, we were put here, we were given this for a reason, and it's a shame to squander that. And I just want to make it happen. I want to do the best I can do, and if that works out, great. If not, I'll be on Social Security soon. So, no, I'm kidding.
I had no idea you were. I mean, Jimmy and I grew up in the same town, but he was older than I, so I never knew him through those years. But I always thought you were like 4. I mean, you look young, so I always thought you were like 5 or 6 years older than me, and I'm 50, so you're 11. So yeah, you were way gone out of Greensboro by the time I was in the bars seeing live music. Yeah,
I left Greensboro in 88.
That's the year I graduated.
And I've never, I mean, I love Greensboro. I love those people. There's an amazing scene with some super talented people, many of which I've often wondered, because I don't know, I'm not sure why they're still there. Because to me, it was like, I'm going to go.
Because Greensboro was one of those few towns that could support a musician without them ever having to hit the road.
Yeah, I never figured out how to do that. I hit the road.
Yeah, I mean, because I used to write an article called Where Music Matters for a publication. And at that time, the girl, when she started the magazine, wanted me to call it No Cover Bands, because I was the girl in town that would put everybody down if that was their choice. I would like original. So when I was approached to do this, I had too many friends that did that, and I wasn't going to do that to them. So I changed the role of the article to be where I would interview an artist and then the mastering engineer. And then the next article would be the artist and a venue owner. And truly what came out of that was just recognizing that, the plethora of original talent that never hit the road and made what we all make putting that energy in. And that's just amazing. That town still has that. It still offers that.
Yeah, it's a cool place. It's a cool place. I miss it. I miss especially some of those people were like the people that influenced me when I was 18, 19 years old are still friends of mine. And then back then, they were unattainable. They were super cool. I didn't think I could ever hang with them. And now they're all really good friends of mine, and they're still doing it, and I'm still doing it. And albeit a different path, but I have nothing but love and respect for a lot of those people like Sam Fraser and Scott Mannering. And they're brilliant musicians. Anyway.
Yes. So, Latimore, what you want your new future to look like?
Well, the future, I don't think a whole lot about the future, because at my age now, I just hope I'm around to see what was that? What is that? I think it's gonna. I think the future of music itself, it's gonna be a different normal than we have or we've been used to, but it's gonna happen. There's no way that it's not gonna happen. It's gonna happen. I just hope that I can have a few more years left to be a part of it, because I don't intend to ever retire, formally retire. I mean, hey, I'm 81 now. I don't. There's not a whole lot of future left for me. I know I'm on the back nine. As he was saying earlier, living living your life in the rearview mirror. I have a lot to look back on, and I hope I have something to look forward to. And this music that we love, it's gonna be there. Can't kill it. It's always been there. We just have to hope that we can be a part of it, And as long as I can do a credible performance, on the stage, I would still love to do that. But not right now. I'm not gonna go out there and I'm in the high risk number here, and I don't intend to rush it. I'm gonna see if I can just get a piece of it, just a little bit, just a little bit, not much, just a little bit. And I've been lucky enough to be able to make a good living for a long time. Early on, I wasn't making a good living. I was making a living, but I learned how to make a living at this business, and I feel that I'm blessed to be able to have done that. That's why I'm not sweating so much right now from not from not getting out there and performing, it's not a economic thing. It's not a bad economic thing. It's just that feeling that I have that I have to do this. You know, I was meant to do this. There's nothing else. It's the only way I've ever made my living. I've never made my living doing anything else except something in show business, playing, singing. I've done all of it. I've done all of it. Play, sing, act, do it, and I've done it all. I've done everything, and I don't want to. I should say I'm doing, because I don't want to be I don't want to be considered just in the past tense. You know what he used to? He was, man, wasn't he? Do you remember him? I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that. You know, I want to be able to enjoy a little bit and smell the flowers while I'm still breathing here. You know.
Yeah.
But I'm not all down and out saying, "Oh my God," and say, "Oh my God, I'm 81 years old. I don't have any money." And I got 50 friends that people call and tell me, "Says, didn't you hear? Didn't you hear he was?" Oh my God! I got interviewed here last year, and the guy asked me, said, "How do you want to be remembered 50 years from now?" I said, "What do you want them to say in the paper 50 years from now?" I said, "He died last Tuesday."
That was good.
That was good.
So what would you like to see happen coming out of the gate as far as music is concerned, Mark?
Me?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I agree that the music is always going to be there, because there's people that just have to, that's how they express themselves. And we all know lots of those people. And well, you know, we all express our love for the music in our own ways. And I know from conversations I've had with friends, people are getting concerned because there's venues closing, some bars closing that book live music. Goes back to what Jimmy said. You know, to me, that's just the ebb and flow of business that happens all the time. And it happens for a lot of different reasons. A lot of bars and even restaurants operate, they're undercapitalized. And so an event like this really puts a strain on them. But then there's a lot of people who look for opportunity. And when things start to shake loose in the future, I'm sure there's going to be people that are going to look to step in, whether they buy a club that's went out of business and reopen it, or they find a different spot, but know that live music is their ticket. You know, that's going to happen. And there will be venues to play in. But, you know, and then I just want to see bands be able to get out there and tour. And that's my one concern is, if you know anything about the music business and you know what it takes to make a tour successful, you got to be able to connect the dots as you move across the country in some kind of reasonable fashion, you know, which doesn't mean making 600-mile jaunts every night after you got done playing a show. So there has to be enough credible venues for the touring acts to be able to put together tours that make sense and give them the opportunity to come close to breaking even, if not maybe make a little money if you can do well on merch and CD sales. So to me, that's going to be the one key. But going back to what you said about a reset, there may be, at least initially, there may not be this big surge to fill all these slots in the clubs that are open now, because some of the artists, some of the bands have said, okay, we've decided this is it. We're going to kick back and enjoy the fruits of our labors, and we'll play the festivals, but the touring days are over. So that's going to create some opportunities. So I think it'll come back. I think particularly if there's some magic bullet, like a real vaccine, where we can get it out there to everybody in a fairly short period of time, there could be a huge explosion. And a lot of stuff will open up, and then everybody's going to be scrambling to fill. Jimmy will be looking to fill his calendar. Latimore will be, looking for opportunities to sing Let's Straighten It Out. You'll be so busy, you'll have to hire somebody just to answer the phone for you. So, and I'll keep writing about the music. So,
And that is what I know we all know. We just don't know when, and we don't know how.
yeah.
That's uncertainty is one of the great, the most disheartening things about life in general, and this is like a massive example of that.
Well, I
Like,
think I say this a lot, I think anyone successful in the business is a type A personality, which means you like to control situations.
yeah.
So when it's out of your control, that is as gut wrenching as that other chosen word you used. Because you can't change it. You can't reinvent it when you can't do anything. Yeah, no, I so appreciate you guys joining me for this. This was awesome. Thank you, Latimore, for changing up the game and for being here. Thank you, Mark, for making that happen. And I really, really appreciate this, gentlemen.
Well, thank you, Tina, for everything. This has been a real honor and thrill for me. This is a great discussion.
Yay.
And for me as well. Oh,
even with Jimmy on the call.
So this has been great for me. It's great to see you guys, and y'all stay out there and do what you do.
All right.
And I'll see you. I'll see you. Hopefully I'm walking.
Yeah. Well,
if I'm not walking, I'll be in front of the keyboard somewhere.
Yeah. Let me just put this plug in. I got the opportunity to see Latimore last year. Wasn't it your birthday party or like a birthday? Yeah. And he had his band and he killed it. He's still there 100%. And if you get a chance to go see him, don't miss him.
Yeah, don't miss it. I haven't seen you since 2012, but those shows on the ship were just outstanding. It was
all right.
I really, really loved it.
And we had a gentleman, Latimore, that posted a comment. His name is Al Lorero. He plays in a band, Big Al and the Heavyweights. And he said, "You are a true legend. You mean so much to real soul music."
All right.
So, yeah, you need to know that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, thank you, gentlemen, so much. And be safe. Wear your mask. Stay healthy. And we will for sure see each other on the road on the other side of this.
Thanks for doing this, really a pleasure.
Yes, thanks, Tina.
Okay, thank you.
See you later, fellas.
Bye, guys.
All right.
And thank you so much for joining today. That was an awesome conversation. Moving forward, we'll be moving the show time up an hour, and we're going to make this a bi-weekly show. In between, we're going to bring back Fanfare Fridays, where we will ask the questions hopefully you, the fans, want to know. If you like what you saw today, please hit the like button. You have a comment to share, please do so. Write it below. And want to know when we go live again? Please hit subscribe and you'll be notified. Enjoy the rest of your week. Have a great weekend. We'll see you soon.